Hello, I am Anna Hockett, and I'd like to welcome you to the Anna Angle. It's a new podcast sponsored by Brava Magazine here in Madison, Wisconsin, and I am so excited to be here, and I'm so excited to have you here with me. Um, all right, so let's dive right in. This is going to be a little bit of a different format than usual, just because I had to take our first episode ever to thank you all for being here and thank you all for subscribing and continuing to like my social posts about this, and really welcome you and show you or let you know a little bit more about what we're on a mission to do here at the Anna Angle. Um, Today is the right day to launch this because here we are. It's June 22nd. I am 41 years old and I have had some podcasts in the past. I don't know if any of you listening remember Happy Hour with Hockett, which was launched in Colorado Springs, where I used to live during the pandemic. The goal of that was really to keep the local businesses, restaurants, breweries, bars, um, fitness studios, as much in the public eye as possible during a time of unknown during the pandemic. And then I did have another podcast called Two Blondes and a Printer that was more of a work technology focused podcast with another company that I worked with. The Anna Angle, though, is something that I've come up with over the last year, since I've been a part of Nye Turner Media Group with Brava Magazine, as well as Persona Magazine and Chicago Style Weddings Magazine down in Chicago, because I continue to have all these conversations with so many different people. And yes, like I said, I'm 41, I'm midlife. I've had a huge change in my life in the last 3 years, which is moving back to my home city of Madison, Wisconsin. I grew up in a small town called McFarland. There used to be one stoplight. I think there's multiple stoplights there now. And I continue to meet so many incredible people, whether it's on planes or in bars or as part of my job, which is working with a lot of businesses here in the greater Madison area. And so many people have such an incredible story to tell. And I want to have a platform to give them an opportunity to tell those stories and to have open, honest conversations that others may find inspiration from or find motivation from, or even maybe laugh, maybe cry, maybe just find their business and they want to go to their restaurant or um go to their store, whatever it might be. And this isn't just about, business owners. This is about all different people from all different walks of life. um I've always loved stories and conversations, and I truly believe that all these opportunities to meet the folks that I've met, even in the last 3 years since moving back to Wisconsin, um, or the first 3 years I moved away from home when I was in college, I think that it gives you an opportunity to learn and to grow. And um, these are the types of conversations I can't wait to bring to the forefront here on the Anna Angle. Um, just a little bit about me. I went to school and I ended up majoring in broadcast journalism. Was going to work at NBC in Madison. I actually had an internship there right after I graduated from University of Minnesota Duluth and had a job offer. And for whatever reason, at that point in my life, that wasn't the path that I decided to take. I decided to go into sales instead. And that took me down to Chicago, lived there for a while. Um, and I realized pretty quickly, and I've really realized, I think, in the last couple of years, that even though I never went into broadcast journalism or truly started doing the news, like I learned to do and worked in for 3 months after college, I think that sales and all of these different types of jobs out there, they all kind of mesh together. And interview skills and learning from others and letting people tell their story and helping people tell their story, um, is all really, really similar, and that's something that I got to do um, in college, and that's what I graduated with a degree to do. So that's kind of where I feel, again, it's not going to be perfect every single time. I'm not saying that I have all the answers, but I do feel like I do have some background um, to really, help people tell their stories. Uh, in my sales career, which kind of ended up in the last really 10 years being in more technology and software sales. And I had a lot of really great successes, and um, got some great President's Club trips, and got to know some incredible people and learn how a lot of different businesses operate, startups to, publicly traded huge companies. Um, I still had to ask the right questions and learned how to ask the right questions, and continue to use my questioning skills that maybe I did pick up in college, or maybe I just picked up in wanting to be a lifelong learner. Um, so yeah, that's kind of where all this came from. And then, being able to, now we're so lucky to have these great platforms out here, whether it's Spotify, YouTube, Apple, um, to be able to upload conversations that we have that other people might learn from as well. And I think that now is the time. If I didn't do it now, I don't know when I would. So I'm very excited to start having these conversations. I'm so excited that so many people have reached out to me and said that they'd like to be a guest and have a conversation with me. Um, another piece of what all of this is going to be is I've really learned throughout my life and my career. Um, Again, being midlife, I was raised to have a positive attitude, and I always watched the movie Pollyanna growing up, which, if you haven't seen it, I would highly, highly recommend to check it out. It's very, very old, and it is all about a little girl who plays the glad game, and she tries to find the good in everything. Um, and most of these folks that I've met along my life so far that have really inspired me have always had a time in their life where they've had to look at something from a little bit of a different perspective. And whether that's looking at it through a positive lens, or looking at this world around us with a positive outlook, or maybe just a different outlook than we might be stuck in. You never know what can happen on that front. I am and always will be my mother's daughter, and she's probably the eternal optimist and the eternal positive thinker. And I think sometimes when we can look at life with a positive lens, the sky's the limit as far as what can happen. So I hope to bring some of that positivity and excitement and optimism to all of you, and share more and more stories of shifting the lens that we might look at things. A little bit more background on me. I am, like I said, from McFarland, Wisconsin. Used to have about 5,000 people in the town. Now I think there's a little more than 8,000. So go Spartans. Um, I never thought that I'd be back in the Madison area. I loved growing up in my small town, but I just always thought that I wanted to be a big city girl and change. But again, you never know what life is gonna throw at you. And through some big changes in my life, I've ended up back in Madison, Wisconsin. And as far as right now, it's probably one of the best decisions I've ever made, is living for the first time in 20 years in the same state as my family, and a lot of the friends that I've reconnected with and gotten to be really, really close with again. And I've met so many new incredible people along the way. And again, I'm in a position now. It's not tech sales necessarily. We do a lot of digital stuff, but I'm in a position where I truly love what I do and believe in what I do for a living. Um, like I said, sometimes life throws very, very different things than you ever thought would happen, and here we are. So I played tennis in college. I'm very fortunate to have a super athletic background. And some of the women that I met on my tennis team the first day of college at Montana State are still some of my best friends to this day. I'm literally on a group chat where I just got messages from my Bobcats. So shout out to my Bobcat girls if you guys are listening. The other really cool thing about that is when I went to college from my small town of McFarland, Wisconsin, everyone in the top 6 lineup at Montana State when I first got there was from another country. So that, I think, started to really open my eyes to different cultures and different experiences and different types of people. And whether some of my best friends are from Australia or Russia or Chile or Mexico or Switzerland, I am so fortunate that I got to, get my eyes opened right away to really different things than what I was used to. I do have to give a shout out to my girlfriends also from both Atlanta as well as the Bozeman area, because they are also on the group chats that I am, as well as the Oregon, Washington State area. But yeah, something that was really exciting, and I think started to really open my eyes up to what this world can offer, and all of these different types of people and different types of thinking. I got right away, when I got out to Bozeman in 2003. Like I said, in my sales career, I've been very fortunate to have some incredible years, both selling software as well as wellness types of things. And now, like I said, I'm in more of the advertising and growth stage, and it's just been great. I am a fitness instructor, and that was another thing that really got me thinking about doing this. Is I had tried out 4 times to be a spin instructor at different studios, like boutique studios across the country. And finally, in November, I was asked to try out, or asked if I wanted to try out. I did, and I trained very, very hard for about 2 months, and I am fortunate to teach a couple classes a week at Joyride Fit here in Madison, Wisconsin. To all my Joyriders out there, I don't know how to thank you for the last 6 months. It's been one of the biggest joys of my life, is being able to be a spin instructor and bring so much than just fitness to every person that walks through that door, and learn so much from you along the way. So to all my Joyriders, thank you so much. A couple other things is, just about me, in case, you don't know me very well and you're still tuning in. I am a wine, food, and travel enthusiast. So, that you can see my wine rack in the background. If you are checking out, that's just about half the wine that's in this apartment. I got really into it for a bunch of different reasons that we'll probably talk through on some of these podcasts. And again, I think it's a lot about experiences and tasting and feeling, and what things can make you think about. And travel is another one of those things about experiences. We'll definitely be talking about travel throughout the podcast with all different types of guests. And yeah, so like I said, I'm a lifelong learner. I don't know that I'll ever go back to school per se and sit in a classroom, but I love learning from everyone that I've met along this journey. I'm also not someone who's going to pretend like I'm some sort of expert here. I am still figuring things out as we go. And I think that's where I can't wait to interview some of these incredible guests that I'm going to have on, and continue to learn from them. And again, let them share their stories along the way too. So why the Anna angle? Like I've mentioned a couple times here, I think that everyone sees life through a very different lens. Everyone's had different experiences. Everyone has had different upbringings, and has different ways of looking at this world and looking at this life that we live. And I'm not someone who's claiming to have all the answers or any of the answers, but I want to allow access for some people to answer some questions, and to tell their stories, and to let us continue to grow with them, and share maybe a little bit of my perspective as well, as we hear other stories, and learn along the way. So some of the things that you're going to hear that's going to be probably pretty consistent on this podcast is, we are going to talk about personal growth. We're going to talk about things like confidence. We're going to talk about resilience, probably some reinvention, as well as life lessons along the way. We're going to talk about failures. Uh, I can't wait to dive into talking about some relationships with people that have been married for 50 years or people that maybe have had some challenges when it comes to relationships. I think there's so much that we can continue to learn. Red flags, green flags, whatever you want to say. I want to dive into some buzzwords. I want to hear what people are thinking about. A lot of the things that are going on in this world, as well as things that are going on inside of us and in our hearts, our souls, our minds. I do want to talk about fitness a bit, health, wellness, habits, good habits, bad habits, balance. Um, like I said, I'm a fitness instructor, so I've gotten to see a lot of really special growth within the confines of Joyride. But I'm also all ears to hear what's working, what's not. Cooking, like anything health and wellness, how can we keep tasting amazing things but keeping really healthy, or what's worth it these days, as far as health and wellness. uh Business, I'd love to talk about sales. I can't wait to talk about technology and AI and entrepreneurship and leadership and career goals and um all different things that are going on in the work world for people. Um, I personally have been involved with a couple uh, non-performance based reduction in force layoffs, and I'm telling you right now, you guys, heartbreaking. I can't even think about one of the mass layoffs that I was involved with that still, it like hurts my feelings to this day when I think about it. And I know a lot of you out there have gone through the same thing. Um, so I'd love to hear more about like what that meant for you, how you got through it. Um, a lot of business stuff. I can't wait to dive in. Um, and then we'll definitely be talking a lot about experiences, relationships, community, networking, interesting people, boring people. What makes what makes us tick? Um, what makes us feel certain things? All the meaningful moments. Um, and I want to get into some wins. I think that the more we celebrate the wins, the better off everyone is. And every single episode, I'm always going to have some sort of beverage and ask, whoever we're talking with, okay, what are we toasting to today? And more to come on that in just a moment. Um, we're definitely going to talk about some adventure as far as travel, new experiences, getting outside of our comfort zones, saying yes to opportunities instead of just saying no. I just recently, and here's hoping that everybody stays healthy and this can happen. But I just recently sold my folks on going to Sicily in Italy with me, or the island off of Italy with me this year. And I know that they're part of them is terrified. My mom has never been to Europe. Um, but just the excitement I can feel from them saying yes to something that might be a little bit outside of their comfort zone, is so exciting, and I can't wait to report back on how all the planning is going for that. Uh, and then, like I said, we're always going to talk about a little bit of growth, learning, and a few things that really I've learned, and maybe how we can put those things into play. And that is really, you guys, that life rarely goes according to plan, and shit happens, and people can get sick, and people can change, and um people can not be who you think they are. And um but sometimes that's when like the real growth happens, and that's when we can really learn about ourselves. We can really learn what we want, what we need in this life. um and growth happens when we can be uncomfortable, and confidence comes from action, taking chances. And some things that I've also learned is relationships really do matter, the good ones, the bad ones. And I'm 41. I don't have all the answers, but it's never too late to try something new. It's never too late to continue to ask questions. It's never too late to believe in yourself and see really what could be possible. Um, and what I hope this podcast becomes inspiring, educational, uh, fun. If you're not laughing a little bit, I hope we are doing something that at least makes you laugh or smile, or feel something. I want it to be honest. I want it to be super authentic. Something that I've tried to stick with or that I can't seem to shake throughout my life and my career is it's what you see is what you get when it comes to me and Anna. And if this ever becomes not authentically Anna, please feel free to stop watching that. That's not what we're here for. And I want it to be a place for great conversations. One of my best friends, if not my very best friend in the world, recently said, I asked her if she would consider being a guest on the podcast, and she said, no one cares what I have to say. And I said, that's the complete opposite. So many people I know would love to hear what she has to say or have what a conversation between her and I really looks like. And I can't wait to give many people voices that maybe feel like they don't have one or they don't really know if they don't know really what they bring to the table or what they're trying to say. And I want to have conversations with everyone and allow other people to hear how that goes, because I do think that there's a lot we can learn from one another. So I don't have too much else to share with you today other than I'm truly so grateful that you're here. I can't wait to see what this becomes and what these conversations turn into. Today, what I'd like to toast to, and I'm just drinking a little French rosé from Provence. I will always try to share whatever we are drinking or whatever I am drinking, just because these wines need a voice as well, and I want to make sure that you're able to maybe find new things if you want as far as it goes in the wine world, because I love wine, and why not share that information and knowledge as well. I will be WeSet level 1 certified very soon here after I take the test, so more to come on more and more wine knowledge that I'll be dropping at you. So as far as what I'd like to toast to today, I'd like to toast to new beginnings, taking chances, maybe starting before you're ready sometimes. Like, I don't know if any of you saw one of my posts recently, but I had the entire first episode taped, and for whatever reason, it didn't have sound to it when I was trying to upload it to Spotify. So that was a little bit of a bummer to this morning, but you know what? This is a little bit more authentically me. So here we are on Monday, June 22nd. Thank you so much for being here. Stay tuned for more of the Anna Engel. We're going to toast to starting and launching the Anna Engel podcast. Please subscribe, follow. If you have, really quick, before I let you go, I do have to answer a couple of questions. I did ask folks on Instagram what you wanted me to talk about today, or questions that you wanted me to answer. One of my very good friends, it's so random, but it's a funny question. So she asked me, what national park is your favorite and why? And this is a friend of mine who I have fortunate to have gone to multiple national parks with. So I hope you're listening. My favorite national park. So I want to say Yellowstone just because it's right outside of Bozeman, and that's probably the first national park I've ever been to. And it's gorgeous. I'm, never not going to love it, but I will have to say it's a tie between Glacier National Park and Zion National Park, which I've both been to with this person that asked me the question. Glacier was unbelievable. We got to hike, we got to whitewater raft, we got to do some incredible things, and then it was all green and absolutely beautiful. And then Zion was all red and dirt and clay and also absolutely beautiful. We stayed inside the park at the lodge at Zion. If you ever have any questions about that, I'd be happy to share them with you, or share any of my experience and information on those with you. This fall, I am going to Bryce Canyon and Bryce Canyon National Park, staying in one of those under canvas things. So I can't wait to report back on that. But yeah, I would say Zion and Glacier are both my favorite for very different reasons as of right now. So thank you for asking that question. I'm not answering 2 questions that were specific to my marital dating status, and they were from 2 gentlemen that are very kind to me on Instagram, but we can get into that another time. But then the other question was really, why am I doing this? Why did I decide that now is the time to launch this podcast? And I guess that's what I tried to share the last 25 minutes with you is why we're doing, using a little bit of my broadcast journalism background, why we're doing this, what we're doing, when we're doing it. And they'll all be about probably an hour, like 45 minutes to an hour long episodes, what we're doing and how we're doing it. And that is in my fancy podcast studio that is my apartment. Can't wait to have more and more conversations with you all. So I guess I'll end by saying thank you again for being here. I'm going to toast to the launch of the Anna Angle, and I can't wait to see you as this kicks off. Cheers.